If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Oh, you know.
Yeah.
This is Sean Elliott, head coach of the Georgia State Football Panthers. You're listening to the FunBelt podcast.
If you didn't know before, now you know why they call this the FunBelt.
Very excited about the Sun Belt.
You know, while other conferences have been breaking up, our conference has become stronger.
The state of Sunbelt football is the strongest in our history.
I saw FunBelt Conference, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I got to join the show. It sounds a lot of fun.
FunBelt Podcast, part of the Believe Network. Dusty Thibodeaux, Warhawk Report, Shane Mettlen of the Daily News Record, Jeremy Harper of Hellraiser. We've had him on before. Commissioner Keith Gill is going to be joining us. Oh, wait, it's not that commissioner, is it, Jeremy?
Oh, no, I thought you meant Keith Gill. Is Keith Gill here?
No, it's the bigger and better commissioner of all of college football, the Sicko Committee commish.
Holy shit.
That's all I can call him. I can't even give him a last name. He's just going to be commish. So commish, okay. Welcome to the FunBelt in all of its glory.
I've lived the FunBelt since its inception. So I'm definitely glad to be here on the FunBelt pod. I thank you for having me, and you can call me commish. You don't have to throw in the last name, the made up nickname that I earned in my days in Monroe, Louisiana. So
hey, that's a great city on the bayou. These guys have never been there, and so they can't appreciate the warning signs in West Monroe, Louisiana, of the golden water that may be coming out of the faucets or in the toilets.
I've spent a whole evening in Monroe, thank you very much, where I witnessed Tom Wopat lead a parade for something. I guess it was like a Mardi Gras type parade, but he was master of ceremonies, one of the greatest dukes of all time. So don't tell me I don't know anything about Monroe. I've been to Monroe. I've been drunk in Monroe.
Haven't we all?
Yeah. A lot. A lot of nights I probably don't remember in Monroe.
Football is back, and BetOnline is your number one information source for all your sports wagering info with all the up-to-the-minute stats, news, scores, and matchup breakdowns. Get the latest game odds, spreads, and totals from the NFL and college football at your fingertips with BetOnline's real-time updates on statistics, news, and odds. From week 1 all the way to the college football playoff and Super Bowl, BetOnline gives you access to the best football promotions and contests available anywhere online. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.
So, Commish, we bring you in, though, to talk about Sunbelt. Y'all love the oddities. That is the good old FunBelt. I mean, we were talking off air before we started recording. I mean, you have a 54-yard field goal that shatters the hopes and dreams of ULM against App State, with Terry Bowden saying, hey, it's time to turn the page. It's time to win. How do you see the Sunbelt from the outside looking in?
Man, it's a fun conference for me. I really enjoy watching a lot of the Sunbelt. Personally, I have the ULM, attended school there, was in Monroe for many years, maybe not as much as you, but my sister also graduate of Southern Miss. And so with the realignment, now we have like a sibling rivalry inside the Sun Belt. Now it's great. A lot of our committee members, we have like some ODU fans, Marshall fans. We have like Georgia State, Georgia Southern fans. in our little like Discord or Patreon, we have like fans of all like different Sunbelt teams. So there's a lot of trash talking that goes on between both sides. We really don't have too many. I don't think we have any Cajuns fans, but they just like the mascot name and Peppers. But we represent the Sunbelt. The Sunbelt is special. It's great football. It is. I jokingly like to refer to it as like not necessarily like to demean it, but like the baby SEC. It has rivalries like that. It's like driving distances now, which is great. And the realignment kind of made it very expansive, like the SEC is too. And so it's just like the entire like southeastern region, like stretching. It's just so great to have the entire region that way. It's just a blast to watch, and the games are naturally insane most of the time, and quite unpredictable for the most part, I would say. At least this year, so far.
These guys don't appreciate it. I know you appreciate it. Should we not bring Idaho back into the mix?
God, no.
I'm gonna look. I'm old, all right. So I'm on the older side of things here.
I am too. So yeah.
So like I'm like early 40s. So I was there.
Okay, I'm not.
In Monroe when Idaho was in the Sun Belt, and some of the best times that I've had watching football, because Idaho was not great, ULM was not great. This was just like I think maybe like the quarterback was like Andy Chance or something for ULM.
Yes.
We were on the student side, which is right behind the Idaho bench. And I think like one of the games, it was either 2002 or 3, if I can remember, maybe 2001. I'm old. I don't remember exactly, but we just kept making fun of Idaho and potatoes the entire game. And like the players kept going back and forth. And I think ULM won the game that year. Then the next year they came back, and I think Idaho got revenge, and they kind of remembered all of it, which is fun. Idaho is a blast. If we can get them back in the Sun Belt, it would be ridiculous. But I definitely have to make a trip to the Thibodeaux for sure.
Yeah, in fact, I just looking at your Twitter feed. You seem to have a holy reverence for the Thibodeaux. Like it's a like almost like some kind of Mecca building for you.
I mean, this was great. I also just went on a trip last week, a little bit of a pilgrimage to Pocatello. The site, Holt Arena, where ULM won the 1987 national title. So I did a pilgrimage to that site. I just wrote about 4,500 words for that. That should be coming out probably Wednesday, I would say October 4th. So I was able to go up there, which was magical. They stormed the field when Idaho State beat Northern Colorado. Like both of them were 0-3, and so it was incredible, a great experience to do that. But just going up there and having, the Thibodeaux is a magical place. It's that weird stadium that you loved in like NCAA, 2014 or whatever. Like you just go play in that weird dome. And like anything that's a weird stadium, we love it. Like weird sightlines. I don't know if anybody knows the CFB campus tour guy on Twitter, where he always finds the obstructed view seats. Yeah. We had I think we were on like a video with him last year too, but he finds all those. We love it. He's a madman, just traveling all over the place. But yeah, all the weird stadiums, all the weird sightlines, all the stuff is just very unique. And I mean, we're a big fan of the waterfall in Jonesboro too.
Man, we put a lot of effort into that. So what's the funkiest place you've been to for watching a football game? And it doesn't necessarily like the best or the most storied. Just a place where that was just like there's something odd about it that just kept your attention.
Well, I mean, I just went to Holt Arena, which was, I mean, the stadium itself was just, it's sideways. It's a sideways dome. The dome is sideways. Like it goes this way, and the field goes this way. So like the Thibodeaux is like normal, right? It's normal that way. It's sideways, and the goalposts are like hooked to the ceiling. There's not even a center. There's not even a center thing there. The Thibodeaux has the same thing too, but like there's not the pole that goes into the ground. It's just hooked to the ceiling,
Yeah, isn't
And
the Kibby Dome? Don't they have it bolted to the wall on the back?
yeah,
Or
it's
is
it's the
it still
same.
hanging? Yeah.
It's hanging. Both of them are just hanging. So like Idaho has the weirdest stadiums. You got the Kibby Dome, you got Holt Arena, and then you got the blue turf. I mean, just the weirdest Division I stadiums that I could think of. Uh, you know, I mean, James Madison Stadium, I feel like is incredibly beautiful for like almost too good for the Sun Belt, I think, at some point.
Oh,
Don't encourage them like that.
is there some bricks or something involved?
They have that. They have
Half
that.
of it
Is it a man-made lake out there, or is it? I mean,
Yeah.
like behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's Newman Lake. It's next to the field. It's man-made. It separates the stadium from sorority houses. And yeah,
Well, they need that
Uh,
protection. It's like a moat.
yeah,
That's about just to
kind
keep,
of, yeah.
keep the stadium away. But I mean, there's like Marshall Stadiums is very nice. The weird funky stadium of Georgia State, like the way they retrofitted it,
Yeah.
like I mean, that's great. I mean, just having like unique stadiums and something like this. You know, Malone Stadium is I love the one side is just incredibly gigantic, and then there's like nothing in between. You could always see like Brown Stadium in the background when you kick the field goal. Like the track in the background when you go in the one direction, and then like just normal bleachers on the other side. So it's like just a giant one-sided stadium. And it's incredibly tall. Like I don't even know how tall. Like the one side is just so tall. The other side is just like, here's just like a double deck. That's it, normal. It's incredible. I think was the other one. Again, South Alabama's one in Mobile. Fancy. They got like a Michelob Ultra party deck or something. I mean, it's strange. I kind of miss Lad Peebles a little bit.
I
for that.
love Lad Peoples. It's just asbestos and concrete and steel, and you come away with like bacteria infections and that flesh-eating amoeba, but you love it because it's just football. There's no like party deck. There's barely any concessions. We were there for a bowl game. They ran out of concessions by halftime. They have like a card table with premium spirits that you can buy, like a rum and coke. It is. I thought Lad Peoples was the most charming of the Sunbelt.
Yeah, Lad had a lot of charm. I mean, it was around in like the 50s and stuff, and Alabama was playing games in it when they do their regular weird Alabama tour. I mean, like I've never been to Troy Stadium. I do want to get there one day. I haven't gotten to that. Also, I haven't been to Statesboro.
Here's the feature of Troy, and if you talk to SID Adam Prendergast,
yeah,
it's a tradition in Troy that they have the cooler. Every Coke product you can think of is in that cooler, all the way from Mellow Yellow to Pib Zero, Fresca, Tab.
Wow.
Every Coke product is in this cooler.
That's weird. When I was in Pocatello, I was impressed by them having Fresca also. So
yeah.
I was like, wow, they got Fresca up here. This is fancy.
Old Dominion might be worth a look. It's a nice stadium, but when they restarted football, they kind of had to fit a Division I stadium into the neighborhood they were already in.
Oh yeah.
There's houses around it. And so basically the end zone seating is one gigantic block of bleachers, and it just looks like a I don't know, aluminum reflector when nobody's in there, and it's interesting to check out.
I mean, there's a lot of stadiums I would love to go, and of course Boone. You just want to go to Boone. Just yeah, I mean, you want to go to Boone when the leaves are changing and everything like that, just to go. That's phenomenal, and I don't want to upset.
We used to make fun of Boone though, because they were like one of the last old school football fields to have the track around.
Yeah,
and they got rid of it. And it was horrible because that was fancy. Like a distinct feature.
It was. They got a little too fancy, I guess. But it's okay. They moved up. It's a great place. I mean, I think like Apps like baseball field is incredible too. Like just an incredible view. but I mean they're up there in the Appalachian Mountains, so I mean Appalachian. I don't even know if I said it right. Whatever, but they'll come after me and get upset in the mentions for sure.
Yeah, you
But
know, Shane has already pissed off the Appalachian State crowd enough. So
really, okay.
oh man,
I
yeah.
feel like we've been cool for about a year now. I
Okay,
haven't heard
all right.
much.
I keep trying to build up the fire a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could talk about how bad the Cajun Stadium there. I can really get them upset, and you know, I mean,
I don't know. They're one some of
no,
the weirdest fans. They could be super quiet. They might just be standing in your backyard. You just
I look. I mean, I know we have the rivalry between like both sides, which I've made the drive down like 165 and whatnot to get back and forth to Lafayette and Monroe, which is, I mean, it's a fun rivalry. I love it. The name change thing, which is just fun to do. It's great. In my head personally, I'm just like, okay, it's still like Northeast and Southwestern, and I'm like, just I mean, can we just be called Northeast? I'm sorry, North Louisiana, and just go back to NLU? I mean, that'd be cool. And y'all can keep your Louisiana or whatever. You can just be South Louisiana, whatever. I don't know.
all these young kids would be like, "What the hell? We don't know
What is this? What is this?"
But the old timers love that, man. They all want to go.
I mean, just I seriously, they made the name change 6 weeks into my first semester at NLU. So that's how old I am. 6 weeks. The funny thing is, my roommate just had that day they made the announcement. He just put a bumper sticker on the car that had Northeast Louisiana, and they changed the name that day. And he couldn't take it off. He was so mad. Well, it was a Chevy Corsica. It was crap anyway.
I don't know. That I guess it makes it like an antique right away, right? Yeah, that might have been pretty cool. I want that bumper
Automatic
antique.
So all the craziness though of college football.
Oh yeah.
Where's been the place that or the game that you remember the most and has kind of that odd twist to it?
Oh man, like in person?
Yeah.
Okay. There was one that I went to probably with my dad in like 2016. It was first time I was able to go to Ullman. So I went back home to New Orleans and I got to go to Ullman, and like Tulane just couldn't put SMU away. And then like SMU stole the win at the very last second, and they just like ran off the field. And then the problem is like Ullman's so small, like you could still hear them celebrating when they ran off the field because you're exiting the same exit as them. That was a wild one. I've been to a couple of UTSA games in the Alamo Dome, which can get very loud, even if they only fill up the lower, because the whole thing is just concrete. It's incredible. The most Sickos game that I've been to, I think, was when it was Texas State and ULM, and it was like a Thursday night game, and I think the final score was like 13-3. And like ULM just fired the coach the game before, and then this was the game before ULM goes to Hawaii and then gets in trouble for spending all that money incorrectly. And it was just we were like right by the press box, so like we could hear the ESPN people like, what are they doing? Like, why are they not going for it?
Classic ULM.
I mean, it was just like, oh yeah,
what a bunch of boobs.
I was just like, I can't even remember. Was it Todd Berry got fired? Or was it, I think that's what it was. But yeah, my moments really with ULM is kind of just watching the Arkansas game in 2012. That was incredible.
I still don't believe that happened.
Oh, were you at that game?
I was not.
Oh,
you were in Little Rock?
I was.
Oh, you were at that game? Oh man, I was in Jonesboro at the time. A-State had beat Memphis, and I was on a little high from that. And we went out for a victory dinner just in time to watch the ending of that Arkansas game at the bar, and everybody's cheering because everybody hates Arkansas in Jonesboro, or most people do. And so that was just an awesome night. That was a great night. Thank you for that night, guys. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I went to, oh my God, like the worst blowout game I've ever been to in my life. I went to Neyland Stadium to watch ULM play Tennessee in like 2000, I think.
The rain game.
And the rain game, it was insane. Like Tennessee had just lost like a heartbreaker to Florida the week before, and they were mad as hell. So it's like 110,000 people in there, 100 like 700, 8,000, whatever. And it was 70-3 was the final. I can't hear Rocky Top anymore ever again. It was too much. I think ULM got a field goal in the second half to make it 49-3. And then that was pretty much it. It was so bad. It was fun though.
The commissioner's going to hang around and recap the week there, Jeremy. Even though you're not passing the bottle to him, so he's trying to pack up.
The bottle stays with me. I don't share my drinks. They all go inside me.
Well, I don't know why you're drinking. You got the next P5 win for the conference when the Red Wolves went to UMass and beat the Notre Dame Conference Minutemen.
That's right.
52-28. I didn't see a single lick of that game. I did watch it on the ticker just for you, Jeremy, and of course for the show.
I had it in the quad box the entire time.
I tell you what, it was an interesting thing to watch. Jalen Rayner threw 6 touchdowns that game. Did a lot of running as well. I was thinking the Minutemen might be able to put up a little bit more offense, but they brought back their old quarterback who had won that first game against New Mexico State in week 0. Don't ask me to pronounce his name. It's like Pontchartrain or something like that. I swear he's from Louisiana, Thibs.
It's I believe it's Tyson Pumachan.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So over there.
Congrats. Yes, we needed the guest guy.
I hope I got it right.
I think that's perfect. But he was coming back from injury, wasn't running as well as he usually runs. I think he ran for like 90 yards that first game and really powered UMass in that game. Wasn't really there for Arkansas State, but Arkansas State looked great. Jalen Rayner ended up being the Sun Belt Player of the Week. Very exciting times. We'll get Troy next week. We'll see how that works.
Will the Red Wolves ever lose again? I think is the question at this point.
No, absolutely not. It's in the books.
Yeah,
Halloween, baby. You gotta come to my house.
Look, they played Stony Brook, and when the two wolves matched together, the power they combined.
There's two wolves. So inside every man.
Two
one's
wolves.
A sea wolf. One's a red wolf.
Sounds like an Amazon T-shirt.
It sounds like a Skintamax movie.
Well, I know we're ticking the box for explicit language now, Jeremy.
I might have watched that movie in my dorm room back in Arkansas State. And it was a little fuzzy, but I managed to make out most of it.
That's because you were squinting. The other non-conference game, I thought the Cajuns had it.
They dropped the bag.
They fought to Minnesota 35-24. Not a bad showing. Just too much gophering in the second half to really get it. But I thought that the Cajuns actually showed out and showed a pretty good showing there before they get to have this week hosting the Viva La Boobcats. But what are your thoughts there on that?
Thibs, they should have won that game. They were up with 17-10 at halftime. For whatever reason,
17-14, but
17-14, my bad. But whatever reason, they kind of abandoned the run game. Said, "Hey, let's put the ball into our freshman quarterback's hands. Let's him win the game for us." And immediately threw 2 interceptions that resulted in Gopher touchdowns. I was actually disappointed, Thibs, in the way they handled that second half. I really thought that they had that game, and they did look like the superior team until that second half when they just sort of fell apart.
Yeah, there was a backbreaking interception, and that Minnesota came out, took the lead, which you expected them to do, and then they fail on downs. But they were able to stop Minnesota, and then the next drive, the interception, and the Minnesota cashes it in. Now you're 28-17, and they could just never catch up from that point. And when you have a couple one-play drives with interceptions, it's never a good thing. So
no, it kills the defense and the offense.
Not good.
Live, laugh, and point.
So the Cajun Navy could not row the boat.
Or pull the rope.
I see what you did there. That's pretty good. Jumping into Sun Belt Conference action. The game that really surprised me to kick off the schedule, Troy going to Hotlanta and Darren Granger just really unable to get it done. Troy rolls out of Hotlanta 28-7 winners. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Granger took a beating. I mean, we talk about him to get it done. We talk about him kind of having to carry Georgia State, and Troy knew that, and they put the hits on him all night long. And it's going to be interesting to see if Georgia State can find something else to carry them this year, because Granger's is only one guy.
Yeah, I thought Marcus Carroll was going to be that guy, but
yeah,
they need more than Granger, and they need more than Marcus Carroll.
For sure.
Yeah, Troy's defense is just incredible. I mean, they're everywhere all the time and just all over you and make life hell. And Granger did not have a fun time. Not at all. I don't think I would either. So
yeah, I think Troy knocked him out of the game for a little bit, right? I mean, he was sort of down for the count, had to come back in. But yeah, that Troy defense looked legit this week. It does, like, some weeks it doesn't look so legit. Some weeks they seem to have some problems, but they seem to be, I don't know, gelling up. Is that the Thibs? Is that a correct word? Correct phrase? Are they gelling up?
In what context?
No, I don't know.
I feel like I'm in a spelling
bee. Max context.
Can I get a definition, please?
Is it like those Dr. Scholl's commercials? Like they're gelling?
They're gelling.
They are absolutely gelling. Just
like Magellan. But yeah, okay.
They are. Let's bring that back from what, 2000? God,
I don't know. 21? I'm old, man. I was just like, what? I don't even know who that was.
It seems like yesterday, but
it does.
If somebody said it was 5 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, I guess it was.
That's about right. No. Probably like 20 years ago. Still quoting a stupid Dr. Scholl's commercial. But yeah, no, the defense is coming together, and I don't know. I feel like they had to have a new coordinator, so maybe it took a little bit of time to get things to gel. We'll go with that phrase. But yeah, they look really, really good, and Georgia State couldn't do anything offensively at all.
Shane, you got a great haircut there. Did you abandon the mullet after Grayson McCall's 4 interception weekend?
I stopped trying to grow it. And I stopped pissing teal. I was just devastated.
What is going on in Conway that Grayson McCall had never thrown more than 2 interceptions in his entire career for the Shunts? For this weekend, still somehow managed 299 and 1 touchdown. But is the reign over for the Sea Chickens?
I think one thing you see, I mean, you can kind of look across the entire college football landscape, is a lot of guys are good quarterbacks, but you've got to be in the right system. And I don't know if, it's still early, but, Grayson McCall's not in the system that made him a star right now.
Yeah, I think the knock on Tim Beck's offense right now is that it's boring and vanilla. And Grayson McCall is not a boring and vanilla quarterback. He's a guy that makes stuff happen. I don't know if there is a battle of philosophy going, or is it just Coastal Carolina his time has come. They had that good run. Now their talent has moved on, graduated, gone to the NFL, whatever. But I think the Chickens are cooked. They don't seem to have it this year.
Yeah, Coastal, I mean, they just feel like a normal team. They don't feel like the fun, freewheeling chickens out there in Myrtle Beach, just going crazy. They don't feel the same way. They feel like they're trying to go straight, I guess. Like they're buttoned up. They're ready for like a job interview or something. I don't know.
No more mullets, no more stashes.
No more mullets, no more stashes. There's nothing weird that's coming out of there. It feels just like, I don't know, almost they're trying to go like NFL a little bit. Like they're just buttoned up. The field's still teal, but it's just like, that's really the only thing there's no like showmanship. There's nothing crazy or wild. There's not this crazy, incredible late pitches on options or anything like that.
Commissioner Sicko has completely nailed it. They've
Yeah,
become normal. It's like when
it's-
SpongeBob became normal and he's so
it's-
boring.
I don't know what happened.
Going
It's like-
straight, I think, is the perfect way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, they've I don't know if Tim Beck made them go corporate. They all have LinkedIn profiles now. I really say like the defensive coordinator leaving Coastal and going to Georgia State. He's kind of crazy and wild. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but him going to Georgia State kind of changes a little bit of their defensive philosophy too. So they're not, again, they just feel normal, buttoned up, like they just graduated college and they're trying to get a job. It's not the crazy, wild fun that we were used to. And they just feel normal and it doesn't feel right.
You know what's funny to me though? It feels like Georgia Southern's kind of normal too, in that they're very buttoned down and professional, but normal in a way they just kind of crush you. You know, it's like all their plays seem to be run very well. Their defenses run very well. Their plays are executed very well. It's like they're not like Coastal was, which Coastal was like the mullet band.
Yeah.
You know, Georgia Southern's just like this team that's just good on both sides of the ball. And they got this coach that just came out of, the P5 universe, buttoned them all down, like got rid of the guy that allowed guys to jump on top of the bus and chug a beer. So we're getting rid of all of that. We're going to be buttoned down. And it somehow worked for Georgia Southern.
We talked about it before. We wondered what was going to happen when Georgia Southern changes their identity.
Yeah.
And what we thought was going to happen at Georgia Southern is kind of happening at Coastal with the change in identity, and it's not working there. It worked in Statesboro for some reason.
Plus is minus and minus is plus. Everything's different.
Everything shifted from South Carolina to Statesboro. Everything just got. It's like the movie where they switch bodies.
Yeah,
and that's what it kind of feel like. What happened there? You had me at switching bodies, I guess.
What was that? 16.
The power of Eagle Creek.
That's what it is. But Clay Helton, he feels like unleashed, I guess, a little bit in Statesboro. He feels, I don't know, it feels like he was being somebody else when he was at USC and trying to be, but then it just feels like he's kind of back in his element in the South. And just, I love all their quarterbacks. Like last year, Kyle Van Treese was amazing.
Yeah.
And we have like metrics, which we call the Detmer for the Sickos Committee, which is basically, it's just quarterbacks who just throw the ball without a care in the world. And Davis Brin this year he was on the top of the charts, which we have to run it again because he had 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. So that may actually drop him in our charts.
It's almost like McCall became Wisconsin Davis Brin.
Yeah.
That's kind of, they switched bodies.
Everybody switching bodies. I don't know what happened.
Body snatchers. 14 seconds in, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Viva La Boobcats had a 100-yard touchdown return. Ismail Maldi. And they never looked back. Picking up a road win at the Rock over Southern Miss. I think these Boobcats are for real.
They're real and spectacular. I think there was 42-10 at halftime. And then the Bobcats got a little relaxed and sort of let Southern Miss get back in it. In fact, I think they were down maybe a score kind of late.
Yeah, it was late.
Yeah,
42-36.
Yeah, it looked like, oh my God, Southern. And this is what Southern Miss did at Arkansas State too. They erased a 17-point deficit in the third quarter, and it looked like maybe Southern Miss might come back, and maybe people would like Will Hall again. And then they just sort of run out of steam in the fourth. But yeah, that Texas State team, that GJ, man, he's got it going on there. We thought maybe, it'd be kind of a down year with all the word cats coming in. Nope. They look like they might be the best in the West right now.
He basically left San Antonio Incarnate Word and just went right up the interstate to San Marcos, which is like less than an hour away. And unless there's normal traffic is like an hour and a half. But really, he took a lot of that with him, and they had an incredible offense in the FCS, and they probably should have made the FCS title game last year. They just fell short in Fargo. But I was thinking maybe they would take a little bit of time to ramp up, but he worked the portal really well. I mean, you got a P5 quarterback leading you, and I mean, his offense is working great. It's incredible. And I was, hoping that, they would not necessarily be that great this year, and maybe ULM could steal a win, but I don't know. We'll
I think
see.
everybody in the East always sort of counted on the Bobcats to kind of stay where they were, and it's a good possible win, and maybe schedule them for homecoming, and would everybody be happy? Now we can't count on the Bobcats for that. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I know. A week ago, I wondered if the USM fan base had turned on Will Hall too quickly. I'm wondering if I was wrong. It's fallen apart fast in Hattiesburg after
dip your head
so much
under,
encouragement last year.
You dip your head underwater in Twitter and you catch those Will Hall vibes right now, and man, they're ready. They're ready to throw him out. I'm like, give the guy a break.
Ed Orgeron to Hattiesburg.
Yes, I mean, come on.
But the bright spot for the Eagles, Frank Gore continues to just dominate and do Frank Gore things. 2 touchdowns, 123 yards. Is he probably the best back in the Sun Belt ever?
Ever?
Ever. I'm going to throw ever. I don't think so. I think he's a top 3. My top is still Alfred Morris.
I love Sun Belt legend Alfred Morris. Boy, yeah.
Alfred Morris.
There's a lot of good running backs. I'd have to look at career stats. I cannot have that. I cannot recall that off the top of my head.
I will tell you one thing about Frank Gore Jr. though, man. When he hits you, it's not. I mean, when you hit him, it's not over. It's like your body bounces off of him, and then he gets another 5 or 6 yards. That guy, his yak is probably the best I've seen amongst any running back for the Sun Belt. Maybe beyond Elijah McGuire. I don't know. We got to do our research on this, Thibs. You got to assign us a homework assignment here so we can have an intelligent discussion.
We'll ask Chat GPT.
They would do it for us.
Yeah, totally.
They would definitely do it for us.
AI will give us all the answers.
And if it says anything about Arkansas State, I know it's rigged. It did not learn correctly. ODU up 21-3 over the Herd, only to then surrender a 28-7 point swap there. The Huff Shuffle shuffles on.
Yeah.
The Herd's still undefeated with the 41-35 win. I don't know what the hell happened in that game. I really have no idea, because Old Dominion was just dominating.
ODU was nothing. I had this game on too. Nothing but bangers. Like, they only could score from like so far away. It just, their touchdowns. I went over this on our podcast, but their touchdowns were just incredible. I just, oh my God, just so great. Like, I mean, their first 66-yard touchdown run, 19-yard touchdown pass, 70-yard touchdown run, 69-yard touchdown run, 75-yard touchdown run. That's how they scored. The only problem is they gave up a pick six that was returned for 85 yards. So again, just ODU is crazy. And then Marshall does this thing in the third quarter. It reminds me of the Golden State Warriors. I don't know how many times they've done it so far this year, but they drop like 21 points on you in the third quarter out of nowhere, just randomly.
Yeah. Well, one thing, it's almost like ODU sounds like they're just allergic to the red zone, that they should just have that big play offense and just make that their brand. But also Cam Fancher, he struggled early interception in that game. Cam, we kind of expected that from him, but then ended up leading that team, right? I mean, in that third quarter, 21 points, it was mostly Fancher, right?
Yeah, I think so. And here's a crazy stat that I still can't believe. Jack Shields, quarterback of Old Dominion, 95 yards passing, 1 TD, 3 picks.
And you know what? Shields was the guy who replaced. I forget the name of the guy before last game because
Grant Wilson.
Yeah, Grant Wilson threw like 4 picks.
Yeah,
what's going on?
It's
Old Dominion. It's pick
Oh,
six.
we talked about it before in the spring press conference. Ricky Ronnie basically promised they had a transfer quarterback coming, and he never arrived. And this is what they're left with. It's rough.
Yeah, there's where the transfer.
Why couldn't we draw ODU this year? That's what I want to know.
I don't know, man. It'd probably be another wild game.
That's not the Warhawks way. The Warhawks way is to schedule like 3 Power 5 teams in the.
Every year
we have the defense. We could win 4-3.
But sure. ODU is going to beat somebody with a 90-yard broken play, a scoop and score, and a pick 6, and they're going to beat somebody that way.
They play Southern Miss next week, so that could happen.
Yeah.
All I know is ever since we failed to record the Monarchists podcast, even though they're on the show, we failed to record them. They did the whole show. We didn't hit the record button. ODU hasn't won since.
Yeah,
no.
We have cursed them.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it was a great segment.
They were huge. Huge on
awesome.
the quarterback, and they were huge on the team. Oh, nobody saw us coming. We're the best. We tried to tell everybody. And then we screwed them. We ruined their mojo.
And I still get text. Hey, did you hit record this week?
Oh, wait, did you hit? Oh, okay.
I see the little red dot.
Yeah,
so I think we're good.
Thank God.
The Fighting Shane Mettlens rolled on, even though Kurt Signetti was not happy about his team's performance, saying that McLeod had some bad habits that needed to be coached out of him. I mean, the Dukes did win, but they did definitely have to hold on in that second half, getting the 31-23 win over South Alabama. The Jags are dead to me, not only because it's ULM week, but I can't deal with them anymore. I'm done with them. Done. Love you, Governor.
Yeah, Jags look terrible. But Shane, let me tell you something. Yeah, we kind of made a deal about the Dukes pass defense. Like the secondary's young and they make mistakes. Oh, you can pass on the Dukes. Well, you can't pass on the Dukes if the defensive line is constantly harassing the quarterback. I think that's what Carter Bradley found out.
And that's, I think, the entire strategy for JMU right now is, don't let you run, disrupt some pass plays, and you're going to give up some big ones. But, if you give up 300 yards passing and negative rushing yards, you still have a pretty decent chance to win the game.
Absolutely. I mean, and I was watching the broadcast, and the announcers could not stop goo-gooing over that defensive line. This is like a Power 5 line, they kept saying. So they cannot give you enough publicity about JMU being defensive line U.
Yeah, I mean, except they've only got 4 guys who play on defense. I mean, 5. I mean, you keep wondering if they're going to wear out eventually, or what happens if one of them gets hurt. But it's been incredible so far.
They just put another all-conference guy out of the stands. And then Thibs, yes, good God, South Alabama, man, breaking our hearts every damn year, coming out looking awful all the time. What is happening with Kane Womack? They couldn't even get his picture right on the broadcast. They kept showing the defensive coordinator and calling him Kane.
Yeah, and I forget who I was around at that game. I was like, the cameramen have a printout of what the coaches look like. So when they're talking about them, they know who to look for and zoom into. And no disrespect to this linebacker coach that they kept showing, but it was like the Timu Kane Womack.
I know. I kept thinking, oh my God, Kane must have gained like 100 pounds. I mean, that was my first thought. But man, this season's taking a toll on this guy.
My God, this game was crazy. Which James Madison is, I don't know what they keep doing. They get like a huge lead, and then they just like hang on at the end. I mean, they did it at Utah State. They did it here against South Alabama. They basically survived Troy. They got a bye week, and then they got Georgia Southern. So that should be interesting. with the crazy passing attack, that should be a really fun one on the 14th.
I think that Georgia Southern game's probably the most dangerous game JMU has. And man, you're right about that, Commissioner. That the JMU, I keep saying that's the best team in the Sun Belt. JMU's the best. They're undefeated. They've got all the Sun Belt votes in the AP, but don't get me started on that. But anyway, there are flaws to the team, and I can't identify where it is, Shane. Where is this flaw? It's not McLeod. It's not the defensive line. It's not the offensive line. Where is it?
I don't know. They just haven't clicked for 60 minutes yet. They play 4 or 5 series where you think, yeah, they're going to go undefeated. And then they'll play a third quarter where they look very average at best. And it's hard to figure out.
Does the opposition kind of figure them out by the third quarter? Okay, this is what we need to do, or is it just kind of Signetti saying, "Hey, let's let these guys back in just to make it interesting"?
I don't think Signetti completely trusts McLeod yet, honestly, and he's not. He doesn't let him cook in the third quarter when they get a lead. They go conservative. They run the ball. They don't throw it down the field, and he'll tell you, hey, I called 3 pass plays to start the second half and they just didn't go anywhere, but he's not letting it fly in the second half when they're up 21 either. It's I think they get a little conservative because they don't trust McLeod the way they trust Centeo last year.
Interesting. That's just something something to watch for, that I could see JMU getting a big lead and then somebody just nipping them at the end if they catch it right. I just feel like the teams that they've played so far haven't figured it out quick enough. Haven't figured out the defense quick enough. And, because those fourth quarters the past couple of weeks just been a little bit too close for comfort, but definitely something to keep an eye on. And I mean, that could be true. Just doesn't trust the quarterback, doesn't want to risk anything big. And then, just playing to not lose the game may wind up doing it later. But it's just something that I've just patterns that you start to notice once you get into week 5 and you're like, okay, this team keeps doing this. Is this their Achilles heel? Is this going to get them at some point? Just very curious to watch that.
Yeah, they're either going to start blowing teams out or they're going to lose a couple of these types of games.
In South Alabama, I called them losing to Central Michigan on our podcast. I was like, they're going to lose to the Chips. They just blew out Oklahoma State. They're getting all this pub. It's a college, they're not necessarily used to this yet. They're trying to build that. And Central Michigan beat them. And then not realizing they had James Madison the week after, or they could have been looking ahead to James Madison and not paying attention to the MAC team that they had coming to Mobile. So I don't know. Maybe they get back on track this week. I hope not, though.
For the sake of one of us, at least.
For the sake of half of this podcast right now, right?
The finale, the late game.
We've got to talk about this game. Oh my God!
You almost strikes again. I didn't believe it when the Warhawks jumped out to the 14-0 lead, and I was like, no way in hell there's going to be a win when there was the telegraphed pick 6 from the 23-yard line that was returned. But somehow they kept going. I think the real difference of this game, Jaira Wright gets the 1-yard touchdown run. In that play, the right tackle goes down with a knee injury, probably done for the year. On the ensuing PAT, the right side where he would have been, the guy squirts through, blocks the PAT. Luckily, it wasn't returned. That was the difference. Was that one play, that in a horrible attempt at 4th and 2 late in the game.
What was that?
Set up?
Oh my God. I'm not mad at the way the game lost. The what you mentioned, the pick 6, I was just like, okay, we're not winning this game. This was up 14-0, and then App gets 2 plays touchdown, and then the very next play it's 14-14. You blink, and I'm like, okay, but then they just kept going back and forth, and I'm like, something's gonna happen. But that block PAT and the injury, it hurt. I'm glad they didn't take it back for 2 because that happened like 4 times on Saturday, which I had track of all of the ones that occurred. All of the block PATs, return like block field goals. I mean, it was an insane special team mishap weekend, and unfortunately the injury, which I was like, oh no, I mean that, and then they block it right after it. I'm like, oh, this is like late in the game, it's gonna sting, and you got to overcome it. What was the 2-point conversion play when they got it to 40-35? Like I don't remember what they tried to run there, but they didn't get it when it was like 40-35.
Yeah, I try to block out the pain. The other painful part on the game-winning field goal, play clock's at 0 before the snap. 5 yards, and the kick, assuming he hits it the same way, is probably scraping yellow. It probably still goes in and just adds even more to the story. But what if that 5 yards was the difference?
Yeah, look, we gotta give credit to the Mountaineers for staying with that guy. I know it's hard for you to do that, but I think first of all, Mountaineer social media was going absolutely apeshit because they were ready to throw Sean Clark out of the airplane.
They still want to.
Yeah, and they still want to.
Like they were under the replies to the field goal. It's like, hey, I'm glad y'all won this game, but we are still upset.
Yeah. Well,
that being said, that was a great kick.
I think there was this idea that the Warhawks just are going to suck, but we were talking about on the show before the game. We were talking about the Warhawks have good defense. They're very strong on the defensive line. Jaya Wright played, except for the pick 6, I suppose. I didn't get to see that. He was outstanding. He was running, making plays. It seemed like all the confidence he didn't have early in the season, he's gotten back. He looks great. I was a little confused about the last drive for the Mountaineers, though, with Aguilar throwing, making these short, quick passes. Why the Warhawks weren't tightening that up? I mean, they were giving huge cushions to the wide receivers. I guess they didn't want to give up that big play, but still, I mean, you also got to prevent the field goal too.
When you play not to lose, you wind up not winning.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe they thought they kept him to having to kick a 54-yarder. It's a guy who, I mean, go back to the week before and how that game ended. I think if you're ULM, you probably feel decent about your shots if they're taking a 54-yarder to win it. And it just didn't work out. I felt bad. I simultaneously felt terrible for the Warhawks and very good. Felt very happy for the kicker for App State because of the way last week went down.
That is true, but I didn't think he had a chance in hell to make it, but it looked like
I didn't either.
Goal from them. But one thing you do have to credit the Mountaineers was sticking with that game. Down 14-0, they quickly catch up. Warhawks would not stop punching, just kept on scoring points, kept back and forth. I think Shane and I were on the Twitters going, God, you got to watch this game. I'm sitting there wasting time with Georgia Southern and Coastal Carolina when I could have been watching that Warhawks Mountaineers game from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, the two plays that stick out is the one where the one on the goal line, it's 40-35 or like 40-38, right? And I'm like, okay, I know Terry's gonna kick the field goal. Like Terry's gonna kick the field goal here. And I'm like, okay, because Terry is notoriously conservative. Especially when he plays like Power 5 teams, like he will just try to get out of there as soon as possible. And I'm like, okay, he's gonna be conservative here. We kick a field goal, that's fine. Just gotta prevent a touchdown, which I have no faith in doing that. Then they go for it. I'm like, okay, 4th and 2. And then they're in this weird formation that they're going to try to do the sneak and like, the Philadelphia Eagles thing that they do, or like, Oregon State was doing it too. Like the sneak from the 2. And I'm like, okay. And then they try to do a play action pass, which the tight end leaks out and he's open. The only problem is like 3 guys are on Jaya Wright immediately.
Yeah, they have 15 guys in the box.
I mean,
You can't have 15 guys.
You have.
I swear.
It seemed that way. There was a lot of Mountaineers. Maybe Yosef was out there too, the mascot. Some of the band out there. Some trombone. The trombone was out on the field. I don't know what that play call was, and I don't necessarily know if he was trying to do like a naked bootleg or something, because like he never looked up immediately. Like I don't know what. He was still down like with the ball. I don't know if he like fumbled it or like he was just trying to hold it. I don't know what was supposed to happen there. And
you know what it's like? It's like when you don't set your audibles and you're playing NCAA.
Yeah.
And you just hold square.
Yeah. It just you hit the wrong button and you accidentally kneel, and there's two guys all over him like immediately, and I'm like, what is? They were ready for the play fake, and then they probably were ready for the. I mean, I don't understand. If it's from the one, fine. From the two, no, I don't think. The two is a little bit more obvious. You're going to try to play fake it, I think.
See, this is what I'm loving right here.
Yeah,
the ULM consternation, the upset stomach of the Warhawks, given human form right here.
It's fun.
I'm here every week.
Seriously, like the thing for me personally is like when I started the committee or whatever, and I knew there were other ULM fans out there on like my personal profile, my personal Twitter. I jokingly have in my profile like the internet's only ULM fan. And it kind of feels like that sometimes, and I'm just like, the only time like I had a lot of fun on Twitter is when like 2012 when they beat Arkansas, and they nearly beat Auburn, and they nearly beat Baylor. There's very few times that you kind of feel like a lot of people are talking about your team, and doing the committee thing is fun because everybody knows. My affiliations. I do even have like an old school hat here.
There it is.
Nice.
With some camo, of course. You got to have that here.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Got to have a little camo. But like, it is just, it's frustrating because the margins for ULM are always so thin. Like they are so thin. Like one little mistake. I'm watching the 54-yard field goal, and like they're jumping. But they're jumping straight. And I'm like, you need to jump to the side because he's trying to kick it that way. Like they're jumping straight over the center. And I'm like, no, he has to angle it. Jump this way, because they probably could have blocked it with their jumps if they were just like a person over. Like the hole to where he has to kick it from, slide over like one or two players and jump, and you probably blocked it because it's a low, and he just sneaks it right past and nails the field goal. The field goal, it hurt, it stung. I lost the ULM bet on my on our podcast, the Sickos Committee podcast, which I had to drink some moonshine for that one. So
once again, another loss that sounds like a win to me.
Oh no, it wasn't the flavored one, it was the White Lightning.
I love that shit.
Whew. Like 100 proof.
Clean your teeth.
100 proof.
Put hair on chest.
Like shot. I made an ugly face when I took it last night. But no, it's just 3-1. You're halfway to a bowl after 4 games. Feels way better than 2-2 and losing like this. If they would have lost normally by like maybe 10 or 14 or something like that, and you lost your $10 instead of you winning your $10.
I got my $10 from betonline.com.
I feel like it would be better. The one thing I'll say about ULM's defense is, for some odd reason, I don't want to jinx this, I am knocking on so much wood in here, is they can turn the other teams over. And they forced 5 turnovers against Army, which I know Army was trying to use their new offense or whatever, but they forced 5. They forced 4 here against App, and to just maintain it. If they didn't throw the pick 6, if they didn't fumble, they did get the ball right back after that one fumble. They didn't do that. They didn't make those mistakes. The game's probably different, and maybe ULM has a comfortable 2-possession win, maybe, instead of losing in this fashion. But again, the margins are so thin for the Warhawks. Always, every year.
Warhawks are going to be that really bad but dangerous team in the Sun Belt this year. Hey, Commissioner Sicko, thank you for sticking around and
you for
helping
having
us break down this week. It was awesome. You had penetrating analysis.
I watch all the games, man, and it's not false advertising. We watch everything. I have like the quad box with all the ESPN Plus games and whatnot. I have like tablets, laptops. I got 2 kids running all over the place in front of me. I got the 8-month-old, and then the 6-year-old's actually like mimicking what he sees on TV.
Oh,
so he's jumping all over, and he has like the fake Franklin helmet and footballs and stuff like that. But yeah, it's fun. I do it. We have a whole bunch of committee members that also tweet, so it's just not me. We have probably about 5 to 8 tweeters throughout and they're watching a lot more games, and then it's just something that I enjoy. Sunbelt football a lot. It's, I mean, really been with it since the inception of the conference. And I mean, if you want to bring the Vandals back, I don't know if they'll come back, but you know,
the Vandals are coming back. They're not invited.
Get the Vandals back. We could bring back New Mexico State too. How about that? Just
no. Then we gotta have balance on the East, though. No, we gotta have balance on the East.
No Louisiana Tech. No Louisiana Tech. Maybe we can get UMass for the East.
No!
Just
Army, UMass, Idaho, New Mexico State.
Nothing but insanity now.
I mean, you know, just maybe throw Maine in there. Why the hell not? Get the Black Bears up there.